Okay. So, Carlos Sentis, welcome to Imerich Foundation. We are so happy and blessed to have you on board today as we talk about the topic men and finding life balance. I know that you have worked in so many spaces with men and you've understood a lot of issues that surround human beings in general. And therefore, this interview will be something that will create a lot of impact to all those people that Imerich Foundation are in a position to, reach and also empower and impact. So briefly, we would just want to know who is Carlos Sentis and what do you do?
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I am really happy to be part of this wonderful initiative. I am delighted to be here with you today, and especially because I think it is a very important conversation. I think it's not necessarily about men or women. It's about what we can do to thrive in these challenging times. And I'm really happy to be here. So thank you so much for the invitation.
Mm-hmm.
And about myself, because you wanted me to introduce myself, I am the founder and CEO of the World Innovation Alliance, which is a consulting firm that helps companies and institutions to maximize positive impact in a way that is profitable for them. We work with organizations all over the world, and we have a network of 1,000 experts in 150 different countries to work together to find and apply specific scalable solutions for global problems, especially those connected to education, economic development, and health. I have been working for many years as a consultant, but also I have the privilege and the honor of serving as board member of the World Humanitarian Forum in the International Development Board. I am also in the board of the Organization of Young Entrepreneurs of the European Union, and I am a lecturer in many universities. I speak in events, I talk to people, and I mentor startups and just young people all over the world, trying to provide some support. I have been an entrepreneur for many years. I know how difficult it is to begin your professional career, and I don't know much about most things, but I'm definitely trying to help, and whatever I see, whatever connections, whatever resources we find, we try to make it available for as many people as possible.
Wow. I'm so impressed by how you're so many things in just one. And that also leads to the reason why we were so eager to have you on board, because we know we can share a lot as concerns human life and what they go through and a number of issues today, because we're also talking about men and finding life balance. Basically, we will want to concentrate on the men because as the world moves, there's also a lot of attention that we have given to the women folk, and women have got a lot of support when it comes to handling their issues. And men, in a way, we have at some point forgotten that we also need to empower them, also to give them that support that they need, so that we move we move together in the world of empowerment and enlightenment and all that kind of support that we all need. So, Carlos, maybe I'll just shoot this question to you that in your own view, what do you think defines a man?
Well, I think it's a very, very difficult question. And quite honestly, I do not really have a good answer for that. What I can say, though, is that what we need to strive for is trying to improve ourselves, because we are never going to be perfect. Men and women, we're never, ever going to be even close to being perfect. And so the only thing that we have is the possibility of striving to become a little bit better every single day. I think we all know very well what it means to be a good human being, regardless of your religion or your culture or your race or your nationality. You know that there are certain things that are clearly not what defines a good person, right? And I think that it's not necessarily about defining a man or a woman. It's more defining what we should aspire to become, or what should we encourage others to be, or to develop the kind of traits, the kind of values, the kind of behaviors that are going to turn out as positive for their lives, for their families and their communities. So, if I have to define what I consider to be a good man, I would say that for me, it's very easy because I just have to refer to my father. He was my best friend, he was my role model. And quite frankly, I don't think there's many other examples that are as good that I have been able to witness with my own eyes. And I have to say that by just having these virtues that I'm going to be talking about now, you can be a good man, right? The first thing that you need to know is that as a person, as a man, but also as a human being in general, being someone loyal, faithful, someone trustworthy, someone that assumes responsibility, someone that understands that there is sacrifice to be made, that nothing is going to be easy. So you have to be strong and you have to be there to protect people around you. That doesn't mean that you, man, protect women. It means that you protect your people. And even if you are a woman, they are also in that position many times, unfortunately. So I think it is the importance of positive values, being humble enough to recognize how much you need to learn, being strong enough to overcome all the challenges, understanding that the world is incredibly difficult and complex and unfair. And so it is your responsibility to be a leader of yourself, of your family and your community, not because you as man are more important in the family. You are just another part of the family. You have to be there to set an example of what is positive. And I think that, in general, if we look inside of ourselves, we know pretty much what we are proud of and what we're not proud of. And I think that that has to be the focus constantly. How can we be proud of ourselves? Because we are being the kind of person that we aspire to be. And I think when you see, if your parents were good to you, then you have a great reference there. You know that that is desirable and you should treat others and your own family like that as well. When you see the other way around, when you see that your parents were not good to you, or you have had many difficult situations, and you've had problems with your peers, with schoolmates, with your bosses, with the community, sometimes people go through incredibly difficult situations. And I have to be, obviously I am in Europe, my life is way easier than the life of most people in Africa. And I have to say that in general, the most important thing is not where you're starting from, or either if things were easy or not. Let's assume that they're not easy. It's more, what do you do with what you have? What resources do you have? Do you still have family? What do you have around you? Do you have a community? What do you care about? And how can you protect what you have? And how can you improve what you have and move forward? And I think, it's important also to note, you were saying that many times we're supporting the women and we're not supporting the men. I think it's important also to note that in many countries, most of the countries in the world, because again, in Europe, in the United States, the situation is way different, but in most countries in the world, the situation of women is very, very unfair. There's a lot of discrimination against women. Men, in average, are more, are bigger in size, and also are more powerful in the physical aspect, and that leads many times to physical advantage that is used to exert violence against them. So what is a man? A man is someone that has the capacity of defending himself and his family, but also that doesn't use any aggression or any violence against any other, and that we respect others of other situations, and that includes also women. And so that's what I would say, not what defines a man, but something that I consider to be values that we all should try to aspire to incorporate in our own behavior, in our own lives.
Wow. Yes, Carlos, I would want to agree with you that even in Africa, we have got, we cannot say that we have done enough for the women, because even in as much as the world is liberal, we are having very educated men who understand these things. Somehow in their ways of operation, we are still having so many of them that support a lot of unfairness that are towards women. And as I was listening to you, it comes to one thing, that we are like, a man is talking about values that they learn from their father. It is from home. And when you talk about your people, you know, these are the people that maybe your family that you come home to, or your relatives that have raised you and want the best out of you. And you made it very clear that what defines a man is his ability to become more, to become better, and to be very useful to his people.
Yep.
And you know, now in the quest of a man to become a better person, you know, we have work, we have family, and then we have how they balance these two to be the best out of them, you know. So I want to ask you, like, I know you have been in these spaces and you have communicated with a lot of men, and maybe you kind of understand it. So what are these challenges that you think men face when they in their attempts to balance between work, family, or home, and, you know, being better people at the same time?
Well, I think there's a lot of challenges that are shared all over the world, and some that are more acute and more difficult, and even, you know, more severe in specific areas of the world. And I think Africa, in specific countries, specific places, there are things that are just even more challenging. First of all, if there's no peace around, then everything is a nightmare, and that happens, unfortunately. There's terrorist attacks, there's people going to villages and setting them on fire. So you know, we cannot talk about the same challenges of a young kid in, you know, Germany, and someone that just lost his entire family because, you know, there was a terrorist attack, right? So I think that when we are talking about the general challenge that we all face, they have to do with things like economic development, obviously, and you know, your family, the place you're born in, the situation, all of that affects very much. But obviously, finding economic development opportunities. Health is a huge issue that we normally don't talk a lot about, and that includes physical and mental health. So we just take for granted, and we, for example, exhaust ourselves working, and we don't take care of ourselves, and then we explode inside. And sometimes people become very aggressive because they're not taking in consideration their own mental health, or they're just, you know, doing very dangerous jobs. I was yesterday with a friend from South Sudan, and he's an expert in mining, and the amount of people that are working in mining that have absolutely no conditions of safety for their own health, it is just incredibly sad. And so that is one of the huge, you know, one of the biggest challenges that we obviously have, right? So many of the jobs that some men are doing, some women as well, but mostly men, are incredibly dangerous, and that they affect your health directly. If not your health, also your mental health, right? So both things are important. Economic development is absolutely vital, and sometimes you have the sole responsibility because maybe you're alone, or maybe your wife is not working for whatever reason, because of the community, because of the culture, because she is taking care of the family, whatever it is, because maybe she's working as well. But in any case, there is a responsibility from at least a part of the responsibility of the economic growth of the family that comes to the man, right? We can talk about different places where, you know, the balance is different, but you know, in Europe, most women work. In many Arab countries, for example, not all the women work, right? So the question here is that you have a part of responsibility for economic development, sometimes the entire responsibility. That can happen, and that's huge, because many times you are in a situation where it's very difficult to find growth. It's very difficult to make money. It's very difficult to either find a job or create a job for yourself. And you know, fortunately, now we have the internet that is allowing us to upskill with, you know, basically very, very limited resources, and allows us to even find jobs or create economic exchanges online, so we can expand our reach. And it's not only about our own community, because many times if your community is very poor, then you need to find you know, ways to prosper elsewhere, right? So at least there's that, but it is a huge part of the problem, and it requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of competition. It is extremely challenging, and a lot of people are not taught how to deal with that. one of the issues with that as well is that not everybody goes through the entire school. Few people go to university, and even if you do all that, you still are not necessarily prepared for the job market or for the situation in your community. And that doesn't take in consideration Corona crisis or things like that. So finding money and being able to make money and to continue taking care of even the most basic needs is huge. Mental health, physical health, huge as well. And then of course, there's problems that we all have that have to do with our own personal issues. We have problems with our relations. Sometimes we have problems in the community because there is crime, there's violence, there is scarcity of whatever, there's conflict with other people, right? So all of that is important as well. And then we also have, as I was mentioning, your own mental health. You're frustrated. Some people are vengeful because they experience really harsh things and they now become very aggressive. And to those people, I say, absolutely understandable. It's understandable that you feel uncomfortable, that you feel rage, that you feel things are unfair, and that you think that violence is the answer, but it's not. And there's no way that violence is going to be the answer in any case. So, because that's just going to come back to you and it's going to hurt, right? So I would say that these are some of the challenges that are obviously there. And sometimes when it comes to violence, aggression, conflict with others, many times that is a problem that mostly is men fighting men, and that happens a lot. And then with the jobs, as I said, sometimes there's more pressure on the men's side, but it doesn't have to be always like that. In any case, we do have some responsibility for that, and we have to do our part and try to be creative, smart, learn constantly, upskill, talk to people, find ways to either create jobs for ourselves, doing entrepreneurial ventures, just looking for ways to exchange, looking for ways to service others. And if we're able to make money and we are also aware of our health and security, it's much I would say bearable. All the sacrifice that you have to do, it's more bearable.
Wow. So what I'm getting from your talk right there is that you realize that there's a lot of chaos that comes with masculinity, because first of all, naturally, a man grows and they are demanded by the society, whether consciously or subconsciously, that they need to be the providers. And you realize that the biggest challenge comes with the lack of economic empowerment that would propel these people to grow into men or people that are in a position to provide.
If I may,
if
I may, my friend, I'm not saying that men are in the position of the providers. Sometimes it is the case. I see communities, I see places where that is a normal thing, but I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that we need to provide. And if you are a man, you have to provide. If you're a woman, you have to take care of yourself as well. So whoever you are, in whatever situation you are, you need to find economic development. And one very specific thing here is that, whatever people are expecting from you, whatever society's roles are there, find, again, what do you do with what you have to go to a better place, right? I think that is the only message, because otherwise we can just keep playing these fight between men and women, when in reality, what Africa needs most of all is that all women are empowered so they can also become entrepreneurs and grow and learn and support, in the economic side as well, but just, in a way where everybody has more freedom and we negotiate together. You can negotiate with your wife if you have one. Everybody can negotiate with each other and look for ways where everybody can be useful and valuable and at least not destructive. I think that, Africa would be way, way, way better off, and the Middle East in general, if women had more of a position. And if the culture that you see, I'm not saying that I see it, if you see the culture where you as a man are expected to provide, if that is the case, then I think it is important not to talk to, I think you need to talk to everyone as you're doing, to try to empower women around you and say, hey, let's do this together. And this is ways that I see how we can do it together. But please don't say this on the one side and then on the other, don't respect women or whatever, because there's a lot of guys that are in that way. It's like, I have to provide, but then they either hit women, or they are not respectful, or they say they belong in the house or whatever. So, this has to be something that is collaborative. The only way we move forward is working together.
Wow, I agree, because even if we have organizations that or entrepreneurships that are run by women, we are certain that we will have also men who will be working in those very institutions and also gaining from it. And therefore, we need to just jointly work together and build one another for a better society.
I think that's the case. If you have a daughter, what you have to instill in her is that she is capable of doing wonderful things, and that she's not limited because of her gender or whatever. If you have a wife, you can negotiate with her. Maybe you guys decide that it's better that you work and she doesn't. Maybe she works and you don't. That is something that you have to figure yourself. But if you have women around you, if you have men around you, then the message should be, hey, how can I help? Because we are all capable of doing great things here, and let us not, just assume that because this is the natural role or the traditional role, then that's unmutable. Yes. If you see many times, the world advances at different paces, or there's just places that go faster than others. If you see in this particular aspect, in gender equality and women in the workforce, in Europe and in the United States, and for example, in China for that matter, women are pretty much working, I think it's, I don't know the numbers, but in terms of, higher education and the proportion of women that are working is incredibly high, right? So that thing that you're talking about is something that has been changed in the past in many countries, and that what we need to do is not just to, think it is right or not, it's more, how can we make a more equal society? And I think that is something that can be built, especially from people that are in leading positions with influence, like you, that you have a voice with all the platforms that you have.
Wow. I want to go to something that you mentioned, that in as much as we want to take care of other things, it is very important for us to also take care of ourselves, like your mind, or yourself, like being your own leader, and knowing that in as much as you're taking care of your people or your family or whatever, you also need to take care of yourself, the mental aspect. So you realize that younger men are going through a lot of pressure to keep up with the demands of the society. So what advice can you give them so that they can stay focused and also mentally empowered? Because we need them, and we need them to also take care of their minds.
Yes, that is a very important question. I think that we all need to aim for something that is valuable and that it represents an improvement from the point that we're in. We need to aspire to something that is big enough, ambitious enough, valuable enough, so we can put all the effort and direct it towards that. If we don't have a goal, we're absolutely aimless, and it's very easy to get lost. And humans are capable of doing awful things, or just to go down very, very dark spirals of suffering. And that is obviously reinforced by difficult economic situations around, and that is just something that is a negative feedback loop that is just making things really, really bad. So what we need to do is to constantly improve, because we know where we're going. And in order to do that, we need to be ambitious and audacious and think, okay, I know that I am limited because I am just another human being, and I make a lot of mistakes because I know the mistakes that I make. I don't want to tell others, but I do make mistakes. Now, the question is, I also see some potential. I do have some confidence because I have done some things I'm proud of. I have demonstrated that I am someone that is worth, trust, or that is worth, support. Because I am someone that is valuable as a person, then I know I can do. But you need to first have some sort of confidence that you can build by looking backwards about all the fears that you faced, all the challenges that you faced, everything that you've been able to overcome already. And that is something that can make you realize how strong you are in reality, because you're capable of so much, and you have been able to deal with a lot already. So first of all, you need to have some confidence, because if you don't have confidence, then you don't think you can go anywhere. So you just think, you know what, I'm just going to remain this way, or maybe I'm just not that great or that special. And people keep thinking about you either being incredibly talented, gifted, smart, and just like you're gonna make whatever you want in your life, or you're just a failure. And that's nonsense. Whoever you are, you can do a lot. I'm not gonna say you can do anything, because not everybody can do anything, but you can do a lot. And what a lot represents is gonna depend on many things. It's gonna depend on how long-term your vision is. Because if you're thinking, what can I accomplish in 1 year, then you're gonna limit yourself so much. Probably we're talking about young people here. Well, if you have 20, 30, 40 years ahead of you, if you build connections every day, if you learn every day, if you help others every day, you're going to reach way, way higher than you ever thought possible. In fact, even in my own case, I started as an intern in a newspaper, and I worked as an intern for 4 years. And I didn't think for a second about my career. I didn't think much about what I wanted to become. I learned everything I could, and I was working hard and trying to, be prepared for the future. So I would learn a lot of skills because I thought, okay, this seems to be useful. I don't know why or how. So what happened was that I started my own company, and I was growing very, very slowly. I was just taking one step at a time, thinking, if I have been able to do this little thing, maybe I can do this other thing. But it was super slow, because I was like spending years just to go to the next step, because I was feeling that I was not able to accomplish way more. So I thought, okay, I may be able to do only what I have done in the past, plus a little more. What I realized after 14 years of career is that I was able to do way, way more. So I should have been way more ambitious from the beginning, and use the confidence in myself of whatever I was able to do, the humility of all the things that I was not able to do, have a very, very, very high level target that integrated some impact to the community, and obviously economic prosperity as well, and just aim for it and go for a very, very long time. And I think that is exactly the recipe for all the chaos and all the difficulties and all the challenges. If you think that your community is facing difficulties, but you become a leader and you make things better for your people, and you need 7, 10, 20 years to do that, that is a really valuable goal worth pursuing, and something that is actually doable, because you can train people, because you can find investment, you can do a lot of things using the internet, using connections, building and communicating like you guys are doing. So the most important thing for your life, whoever you are, is to aim for something that is both you as a person, what do you want to become, and what are the things that you would like to do that you think, even if they seem difficult, that are potentially doable. And also, when it comes to how high should you aim for, I am really, really high, and then I don't expect anything. So if I ever help someone, I'm really happy, even though my goal is to lift from poverty more than 5 million people. That's what I want to do. Now, how many people will I be able to actually impact? I don't know. But by aiming really high, I know that I am fulfilling my potential, and I am challenging myself, and I'm constantly growing. And that sense of growth is what makes you feel well, aligned with yourself, happy, and engaged enough to take all the sacrifices. So aim as high as you consider, but don't forget that you're capable of much more than you normally think. And don't aim, this is just a personal recommendation, or these people that say, I'm gonna make it to the MBA, or things that are just so difficult, in the sense that there's like a few spots, right? What's like 200 people total in the world that make it there. But if you think about being an entrepreneur, there's millions of people. There's unlimited spots for entrepreneurs. There's unlimited spots for people doing a good living and helping others. There's unlimited spots for teachers. and communicators and people that are able to work with digital skills and people that are just helping communities. So there's unlimited space for growth there. If you aim for something high level enough and you go for long term, I'm sure you're going to have, I think, the guidance and the constant encouragement and motivation to deal with all the problems that you're going to deal with.
Wow. Thank you, Carlos. That is a very, very great insight to life, like the importance of challenging ourselves and how we can find ourselves renewed through the service. And you do it in a way that you feel like you are fulfilled, because that is the best way you can serve, and that's the best way you can also challenge yourself to even become more. So I really get that, and this is so important. So we're just coming to a close of it because we have like less than 4 minutes or 5, and I wanted to know if you could be having any question for Image Foundation, and then also give your closing remarks thereafter.
Well, I would like to first ask if there's anything that you want me to do, if you need any help or any support from myself or WIA. That's the first and most important question.
Wow. Yes, we have a number of programs that we are thinking of doing. Some of them we've already started doing. And we know that creating this contact with you gives us the right opportunity to also expand our networks and share much more with you. So in our temporary room, I think we are going to reach you out and see how best you can be part of us to help us create the impact. We will also share a number of activities that you're doing, both in Nigeria, Kenya, and create this impact. So I'm very sure that our director, Yemi, and I will reach out and share with you the activities that we're doing, and we will find a way that you can be really of help.
I would love to be helpful. So, and I think that you guys are doing a terrific job. Also for the audience, we're here to help and support. If you want to participate, join. We have young membership programs that require just basically filling a form. You become a part of it, and so we can help each other and keep growing. And I think it is, clear that we live in challenging times. I think that there's opportunities, but it is difficult and it requires a lot of effort. And what everybody that is already in the, either in the entrepreneurial journey or people that are trying to figure their own careers, it is absolutely fundamental to build connections. It is incredibly important to know people, to trust, and to be trusted by people. And so it is a matter of working together, not as a beautiful political statement, but more sitting down. What do you need? What do I need? What do I have? What can we share? And what can we do together?
Wow, thank you so much. So what will be your closing remarks?
Well, I would say that you have to focus on your potential. I know that you've been probably through a lot. I don't know who you are. I don't know your age or your situation, but you probably have been through a lot. And what I would like to tell you, or tell anyone that is listening, is that you have the capacity of doing way more than you probably think, that you have a huge potential, and that it would be a waste if you decided to just waste your entire life, not learn, not be valuable to others, if you decided to just take on the easy path of violence or aggression, or just joining a gang, or just being someone destructive because you've suffered. But the thing is, I'm sure that if you were able to choose between a life where there's no violence and one with violence, you would choose the one that has no violence. I know that if you could have chosen a situation where in your childhood or in your community you didn't suffer those things, you would be incredibly happy if it would have been, just so much more peaceful. And I think that whatever happened in the past needs to be a lesson for you to become the person that you consider to be the right one, someone that is creative, someone that is full of light and full of future, someone that is full of hope, and someone that creates and never destructs.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for sparing time to be with us and also being part of what we are trying to do at Reach Foundation. I know we will reach out to you more. So we're just coming to a close of this, and I can say that it was a very, very insightful comments from you and sharing your ideas with us from Reach Foundation, Kenya, Nigeria, and Zambia. We are so grateful that you came and you spared your minutes with us. So we just come to the end of this recording, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All the best to everybody.